Waiters. What Valentine's Day disasters have you seen? If a waiter saw my dinner with my wife, they'd probably be typing this. Our firstborn kid hits our secondborn over some banal sibling stuff, so she cried. We tried to calm her and discipline the first. Fuck. Everyone is looking at us already. Then our third tiers is getting cranky as it's a little late and she'd rather run around. Well, it's that or a fucking screaming baby, okay? Then we look around and there's couples looking at us everywhere. Dunno why my wife had to take us to this semi-fancy running tapas place for my birthday. She said it was kids friendly. But I vividly recall a man ordering copious amounts of alcohol for the girl with him and blatantly telling me I needed to help him get the girl drunk enough that she would sleep with him that evening. It was a statement or joke to this effect literally every time I came to the table. The woman acted like it was totally normal, and I just remember being grossed out and sad for them both. It seemed like a wildly unhealthy relationship. Not a waiter, but a hostess. Too many disasters to count. People put so much pressure on themselves and others on Valentine's Day for no good reason or. I've seen people get dumped, stood up, proposal rejections, awkward no talking all night or worse. Both of them on their phones throughout. Maybe the worst is the guy who brought his mum on the date with him. Valentine's Day may be the worst day to go out for dinner. To failed marriage proposals on the same Valentine's Day. The first one simply said no, I can't do this, and walked out. The second one stared like a deer frozen in the headlights for an excruciating 30 seconds before muttering, let's talk about this later. They stayed for the rest of their 6-course V-Day special dinner, eating and making painful small talk. A guy proposed to his girlfriend and she said no. The guy threw his arms up and ran out of the building. Later, while waiting for someone to pick her up, she told us it was completely out of the blue, because they'd only been dating for a few months. Another V-Day, a guy raised a huge fuss over the fact that we wouldn't serve liquor to his underage girlfriend. Not a waiter, but this will always stand out to me. Man proposed on his Valentine's date and apparently it was like their 6th date or something. The atmosphere went from all that's wonderful to slowly realizing the look of shock and horror on her face to her just running out. This year's Valentine's Day, a woman at my table began having a stroke. I was the one who called 911. It was really busy and some customers were jerks because I was sitting at her table with her, on the phone with the 911 operator. So my service wasn't fast enough. I saw a couple have a full-blown argument in the middle of the restaurant. The woman stood up, took her ring off, threw it at him and walked out. The man continued his meal, had dessert and then paid the bill, left a pretty big tip for the inconvenience and left. A lady had a stroke right after being served her first course, kinda dampened the mood for the other tables. That one the guests was a doctor, so apparently she recovered well, since he was able to communicate with the hospital staff on his cell. People can be really horrid on Valentine's Day. I once sold $2,000 just on a night shift and made $100. It was years ago. I'm still mad. It was a medium quality chain restaurant. It was really busy and I worked my ass off all night to make $5. Not the waiter, but I watched a guy get caught cheating. Long story short, he looked like he was in his mid-40s. His wife looked around the same age and the woman he took to dinner was probably 22. Cops were called, feelings were hurt. Technically I was just making pizzas, not waiting tables, but I definitely watched a dude light his girl's dress on fire with a candle and a cupcake. If they broke up, but she was not jazzed. Girl proposed to a guy. He laughed at her and said that proposing is a man's job and not a woman's. She yelled at him about how sexist that was and then dumped him and stormed out. Not a waiter, but on Valentines this year we saw a couple. The woman was extravagantly dressed in this red velvety looking dress. The guy had a tracksuit, t-shirt and sneakers on. He proposed. She said no. He cried and tried to change her mind for 20 minutes while she sat there stony-faced. She finally got up and walked out. He paid and left in tears. It didn't happen to me, but my friend. He wanted to go to the movies, but some guy booked every other seat to split up couples. A 16-year-old beau proposed to a 15-year-old girl with a cheap ring in the whipped cream of her dessert. She said yes. I was on a date when my nose decided to surprise me with a balloon. While in the midst of a conversation, orders mixed up, surprise engagements gone wrong, and even spilled drinks during romantic moments. Ex-waiter here. I tripped and spilled the champagne glasses on the guy. I was the disaster. Valentine's Day's a mess. Dude. Seen dates gone wrong. Orders mixed up. Chaos. Not a waiter. But my best friend got dumped on Valentine's Day.